There comes a time in the newborn phase, you've just had your baby, everything is going well, you fell into a rhythm. It's predictable when they're hungry, when they're tired, when they need some cuddles, when they need some awake time and loving, and then it happens. It is abrupt. It is brutal. I'm talking about a growth spurt. Hi, my name is Fifi. I am a twin mom and I want to share with you how to survive growth spurts. I have gone through them multiple times with not only one child but two at the same time. I've got some tips for you and this is my story. So let's start off with a definition of a growth spurt. What is it? It's quite simple to understand. It's a short amount of time in which the growth in terms of height, in terms of weight for your little one is quite intense. It is a short-lived moment, but you will see the improvements. You will see the difference most times in your baby after a growth spurt. Just hold on to the fact that I told you it is short. It will pass, okay? Let's get into it. You will be able to identify when your little one is going through a growth spurt through more feedings. They become ravenous, and sometimes cluster feedings is also what will, sort of send the alarm bells, the signals that a change is happening with your little one. I recall our first growth spurt. It was around 7 weeks and something was up, something was different. The babies were just on the boob. I breastfed them up until 9 months. They were just on the breast every hour, on the hour. I promise you, at that time, I was not able to get up and move for more than 30 minutes without them wailing. And the only thing that seemed to comfort them was to be on the breast. And they indeed were feeding. And I just couldn't understand why we had fallen out of this perfect cycle, right? So between Dad and I, we knew the routine, right? Every two and a half to 3 hours or so, the babies would, wake up from a nap. We would do nappy changes. I would get settled and get ready to tandem feed. I'd burp one baby, he'd burp another baby, and then we sort of settled down into some, like playful awake time. Honestly, we just sit and stare at them and marvel at how little and precious they were, right? And soon after that, they would go back into this drowsy sort of phase and we'd wrap them up and put them down for a nap. This day was totally different. It was as if they had never been fed the entire day. And it kept going and going and going. I started to really notice around 10 a.m. or 11 a.m. that this had been the pattern of the morning and continued well into the afternoon and into the evening. So I was, bolted down on the couch with a baby on either side, and Dad was the one to run around and to hand me things. And of course he would handle the nappy changes and the burping and such things. But it was wow. It was an eye-opening moment as to what is happening with my little ones. Now, the best thing that you can do once you've noticed that your baby's having cluster feedings or they're a bit more ravenous than they usually are, that's one of the signs, right, that you will pick up on. The best thing you can do, to be very frank with you, is to get through it. There's nothing else. I don't know, maybe a pediatrician, maybe a doctor, will tell you something else, but honestly, you just need to get through it. And for you, mom, that means eating well, staying hydrated, staying calm, and understanding that this is for a short amount of time, right? And your baby will be back to normal soon. The other benefit, or the other thing to sort of keep you going through this, growth spurt, which can be very challenging with one baby. I can only imagine with, 3 or more or 2 or more babies, how that would be, how intense it would be. You just need to also remember, if you are breastfeeding, that this is doing wonders for your milk supply. Yes, absolutely. So the more that the babies are latched on and that they are, feeding from you, the more your body will recognize that its stores are currently being depleted and they need to make more milk, which makes sense. The body, wow. The body is such a beautiful design in that you would need more breast milk, right? And your baby having this cluster feeding, this cue, this being ravenous, it will serve you both well in the long run, because you need an increased amount of milk for your bigger baby, hence the growth spurt. So just keep that in mind, and it absolutely is a benefit. You can get through it. The second thing that I was able to identify whenever the babies were going through a growth spurt, or I was able to, see, was that they had less bowel movements. So less number 2, more number 1. And for the life of me, I can't figure it out. Perhaps the experts, can give us the information in the comments down below. But I just chalked it up to they are drinking more fluids or liquids or breast milk. Remember, this is the only thing that they were getting in those initial stages, right? Babies don't need water when they're having breast milk. Remember that. Was that they were drinking more, therefore will have more wet nappies, and I'm not too sure what it would do. They weren't constipated. It's not that they were struggling to pass a number 2, it's just the frequency diminished. And by the time you have been with your baby, since birth, up until I think about by the 12-week mark, you more or less know, right, the schedule of your little one, how many dirty nappies that they're producing in a day, and information like that is important to just keep tabs on, and to also check and share it with either, with your nurse at the clinic, as well as your pediatrician. These are just some of the things that you need to stay on top of. And you will notice that during a growth spurt, there are less dirty diapers and there are more, wet ones. Can't figure it out, but that's what I thought it was. They're drinking more, hence they wee more. Something else that you may pick up on very quickly and very easily, it's typically the biggest telltale sign that your little one or your little ones are currently going through a growth spurt, is that they become very fussy and they are very, very irritable, right? And this is something that rings true from the first growth spurt up until, the last one, within the span of the first year of life. That's when the growth spurts really threw me for a loop within that first year of life. And understand that it is something normal, and once you see that, it's okay to start thinking, all right, let me have a quick look at the calendar or Google and see when around, at how many weeks are they supposed to be going through growth spurts. You will know when your baby is just not having anything. My tip for that is ensure that you remove all other irritants. Think of yourself when you are in a bad mood. Even the tag of a clothing label can irritate you. You fuss and you get mad at the smallest things. Why is the kettle sitting this way and not the other way? Right? Small things can irritate you, and I just applied that to the twins. I tried to zone in as best as I could on the things that I had control over. I don't have control over their moods, but I have control over how comfortable they are. What comfortable clothing are they dressed in? Is it too warm? Is it too hot? Making sure that the temperature of the room generally is at a comfortable position, depending on season as well. Ensuring that they aren't stuck in a wet nappy for too long, or a dirty nappy. Ensuring that there isn't a gas bubble trapped after breastfeeding, and you just want to ensure that they burp it out and they feel as comfortable as possible, right? Small things, but they really do matter. And if all else fails, give them the boob. Now, you will be able to identify that your little one is currently going through a growth spurt with something that was very demoralizing to me. So let's fast forward. I first told you about the first growth spurt that I was able to identify. That was at about 7 weeks, right? And let's fast forward to the future. At about 5 months, the twins went through another growth spurt, and I was able to tell through their night wakings. At around the 5, 6, 7 month mark rather, we had sleep trained the twins using the Ferber method, and I will link that up above if you need some help on sleep training your little one. Even when you have multiples, even when you have twins, it is possible, and trust me, it will save your sanity. So by this time the twins were sleep trained, and we just noticed that they were waking up frequently during the night and unable to sort of self-soothe and calm down again. They were absolutely losing their marbles, and from time to time it was good for us to actually go in, pick them up, give a cuddle, give a soothing, put them, I would let them latch on again, and we would have, you know, a night feeding. But I tried not to do this very often for fear of having them run out of their cycle or undoing the sleep training that we worked so hard to implement, you know what I mean? But know that it's okay. It's uncomfortable to hear your child wailing and crying and not knowing what it is that you can do or what the matter is. They're just irritable, and they're waking up in the middle of the night because their body is going through so many changes. I don't even think that they're aware of what's happening, but know that it is okay. You can still pick them up, pat, give hugs and kisses, give a bottle, put them on the boob, and then put them down again as you would during your sleep training, depending on what sort of method that you use. So with the Ferber method, you sort of put them down and you let them self-soothe. You come in at set intervals every couple of minutes. You don't pick them up again. You pat, you let them know, you reassure them that you are still there, that they are safe, and that you are nearby, right? So just know that you can get through it. The night wakings will also be a sign that your baby's going through a growth spurt, especially when you've reached the point where you have sleep trained your baba, or maybe your baby at that point just naturally fell into a longer sleep cycle at night. After a few days, remember, it all returns to normal. Your schedule, your baby, everything will be fine. I think I read that growth spurts last anywhere from, I think, 2 days up until 7 days, possibly. And it's very exhausting for parents. I'm not even going to lie to you. For Dad and I, it was a very strenuous time. But once we understood and we knew the signs, we knew how to move. And now that you've watched this video, you understand, you know the signs, what to look out for, and you know how to move, hopefully, with what I have shared. Comment down below if you have any further questions, and I'll be quick to respond and share from my experience. Remember, I'm no expert, I'm just a lady who managed to get through having twins and get through their growth spurts, you know, as a first-time mom. Remember, information or knowledge is absolute power. I am a Google mom, not ashamed of it. If I don't know something, or if I suspect that something is fishy, I'll have a quick Google and try and monitor and compare and see if I can, you know, confirm for myself that this is something that they are going through, or how to move accordingly. Thank you so much for reaching this point of the video. I truly do appreciate your eyeballs and your ears, and I hope that it will go far in helping you as a first-time mom, as a first-time dad. If there's someone in your life who's parenting for the first time, can't figure out what's going on, share this video with them on WhatsApp, on Twitter, on YouTube, on Instagram, on every place where you possibly can. I truly do appreciate it. And I have some suggestions. You can watch the 14-month development milestones as well as the 21-month development milestones videos about the twins, and you can comment down below on recommendations of my next video. What is it that you would like to know?